Hold on, guys, let me open this bubble. Okay, let's get Gemini up and running. Gemini. Hello, Gemini. How are you doing today?
Hello there. I'm doing wonderfully. Thank you for asking. I'm all set and ready to help you with anything you have on your mind today. How are things going with you?
Oh, they're doing well. Can't complain.
That's great to hear. It's always lovely to have a pleasant, easygoing chat. Is there anything specific you'd like to explore or any questions you have on your mind right now?
Well, we're doing another Bible debate, so get ready.
Another Bible debate? Fantastic. I'm absolutely ready.
No.
What's the topic or the specific angle we're exploring this time? Lay it on me.
Bible debate, not bubble. Bible.
Oh, a Bible debate. That changes things entirely, and I'm very much looking forward to it. What's the specific passage, theme, or question we'll be discussing? I'd love to dive deep into the details with you.
What are some contradictions in the story of Revelations?
When looking at the book of Revelation, scholars and readers often point to several tensions or apparent contradictions that can make the text quite complex. One example is the dual portrayal of Jesus Christ. He is introduced in the opening chapters as a majestic, almost terrifying figure, while later he is depicted as the slain lamb who is found worthy to open the scrolls. Another point of discussion involves the descriptions of Babylon. In some passages, it appears as a literal, powerful city, but in others, it seems to represent a broader, spiritual, or cosmic power of opposition to God. Finally, there's the tension regarding the timeline of the events, with some verses indicating that these prophecies were about to take place in the near future, while others suggest they concern a distant epoch. Would you like to explore any of these areas in more detail, or do you have another specific contrast you'd like to look into for our debate?
Let's look at the timeline.
When you examine the timeline in Revelation, you run into several fascinating tensions. On one hand, you have the very opening verses, like Revelation 1:1, stating that these things must soon take place. This suggests an imminent fulfillment to the original audience. Yet, as you read further, you encounter chapters that describe events that haven't occurred yet, spanning periods of 1,000 years and culminating in a final cosmic judgment. This creates a lively debate between perspectives that see Revelation as primarily concerned with the fall of Rome and those who view it as a prophecy of the end of human history. Given these different time horizons, which interpretation do you find more compelling for your argument? The near term or the distant future?
Distant future.
Focusing on the distant future perspective, Revelation is often interpreted as outlining a grand cosmic drama that spans the entirety of human history and culminates in the ultimate triumph of God. In this view, passages describing wars, disasters, and the rise of powerful figures serve as symbolic warnings about the spiritual dangers and moral decay that characterize an age opposed to divine principles. The climax, featuring the final judgment and the creation of a new heaven and a new earth, represents the resolution of all conflict, where the faithful are rewarded and righteousness is established forever. Would you like to dive into the specific symbolism used in this distant future narrative, or do you want to explore another aspect of the Book of Revelation?
Give me another aspect of the Book of Revelations.
Another fascinating aspect is the vivid and sometimes terrifying imagery, such as the four horsemen of the apocalypse. In chapter 6, these horsemen represent different forces unleashed upon the world, often interpreted as symbols of conquest, war, famine, and death that accompany historical upheavals or divine judgment. The description of these riders emphasizes the widespread impact of these calamities on humanity. Would you like to discuss the specific meaning behind the colors of the horses, or explore another symbol from the Book of Revelation?
Let's explore those options.
Each of the four horses has a distinct color, and each carries a symbolic meaning that contributes to the overall narrative of judgment and upheaval. The first is the white horse, which is often associated with conquest, victory, or a righteous king, though some interpretations view it as representing deception. Then comes the red horse, which represents war and the shedding of blood in conflict. Following that is the black horse, symbolizing famine and economic scarcity, often indicated by the weighing of food. Finally, there's the pale horse, which is associated with death and the grave, bringing a sense of finality and despair. Would you like to delve deeper into the historical context surrounding any of these horses, or perhaps explore a different symbol from Revelation?
Give me some historical context. Maybe you can help me.
To understand the Book of Revelation, it's helpful to look at the situation of early Christians living within the Roman Empire around the late 1st century. Scholars often date the text to sometime during the reign of Emperor Domitian, or possibly earlier during Nero's time. During these periods, Christians faced pressure to participate in Roman imperial cults, which involved honoring the emperor as a god. The vivid and often cryptic imagery in the book, like the various beasts and plagues, can be seen as symbolic critiques of Roman power and warnings to the faithful to remain steadfast despite social and political pressure. Would you like to know more about the specific symbols used to represent Roman authority, or explore another historical detail of that time?
What were the weapons that the soldiers were carrying? Not the soldiers, the people on horseback were carrying for the symbols? Or were there no weapons?
Looking specifically at the weapons carried by the horsemen, the text specifies that the rider on the red horse is given a large sword to take peace from the earth. The rider on the white horse carries a bow, representing conquest and authority. The other two horsemen do not carry symbols of battle in the same way. The black horseman holds scales for measuring food, and the pale horseman is followed by death and the grave. Would you like to delve further into the meaning behind any of these specific symbols of conflict, or explore another aspect of Revelation?
I think we covered that topic pretty well. Now let's talk about the contradiction that comes to Jesus' birth.
When we talk about contradictions surrounding Jesus' birth, scholars and readers often focus on the accounts in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. One significant area of difference is the genealogies, as the lines provided by Matthew and Luke trace Joseph's ancestry quite differently, leading to questions about how they reconcile. Another key point is the historical context of the census under Quirinius, which has presented chronological difficulties when compared to the dates given for King Herod's reign. These discrepancies have led to extensive discussion among historians and theologians alike. Would you like to delve further into the specific details of the genealogies, or examine the debate surrounding the census?
I think we talked about the census, but let's cover that.
The historical issue with the census centers on the timing. The Gospel of Luke mentions a census ordered by Caesar Augustus at the time of Jesus' birth, and states it took place when Quirinius was governor of Syria. However, historical records indicate that Herod the Great, who played a role in the infancy narratives, died in 4 BC, while Quirinius did not become governor of Syria until AD 6, which is about 10 years later. This gap has led to scholarly debates regarding the accuracy of the historical details, or the possibility of earlier, less documented roles for Quirinius in the region. Would you like to explore proposed solutions to this chronology mismatch, or is there another Bible topic you'd like to debate?
Give me a second.
No problem at all. Take all the time you need. Just let me know when you are ready to continue.
Okay, I have one.
Wonderful. I'm all ears. What's the next topic, passage, or contradiction you'd like to explore in this debate?
Is God loving or jealous? In Exodus 34:14, the text states, "The Lord whose name is jealous is a jealous God," which is echoed in Exodus 25. However, the New Testament, 1 John 4:8, claims that God is love, and 1 Corinthians 13:4 explicitly states love is not jealous.
That's a profound observation and a classic point of discussion in theology. When the Old Testament describes God as jealous, it's often understood in the context of a covenant relationship, much like a marriage, where God rightly desires exclusive loyalty and devotion from his people. It's a protective, passionate zeal for their well-being, rather than petty human envy. In the New Testament, when 1 John says God is love, it's affirming the core essence of his character, which is perfectly demonstrated through Jesus. As for 1 Corinthians stating that love is not jealous, it's typically addressing a specific human emotion marked by selfishness or the desire to possess what belongs to others. So while the words are the same, the underlying meanings of jealousy can differ significantly between the Old and New Testaments. Would you like to explore how these concepts complement each other, or is there another Bible topic you'd like to dive into next?
I have another one. Can I tell you what it is?
Absolutely. I'm ready for the next one. Lay it on me. I'm looking forward to another insightful discussion.
Does God tempt people? In the sense that in James 1:13 states, "Let no man say that when he is tempted, I am tempted of God, for God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man." Yet in Genesis 22:1, the narrative reads, "It came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham."
This is an excellent question that highlights a difference in the original languages of the Bible. In the book of James, the word translated as tempt refers to an enticement to sin or do evil, and the text clarifies that God does not operate in that way. However, in the story of Abraham in Genesis, the Hebrew word often means to test or to prove. This kind of testing is designed to strengthen a person's faith and reveal their obedience and commitment to God. So while the English translations use the same word, the underlying meaning in Hebrew and Greek shows a distinction between a solicitation to do wrong and a trial aimed at spiritual growth. Would you like to explore other tests of faith in the Bible, or is there another topic you'd like to bring up?
I have 4 more topics I want to cover.
That sounds fantastic. I'm completely ready for our debate to continue. Please lay the next topic on me whenever you're ready.
Okay, so the discoverers of the empty tomb, okay, that's the topic. The gospel accounts differ on who first found the empty tomb. Matthew 28:1 says Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to the tomb. Mark 16:1 lists Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Salome. Luke 24:1 names Mary Magdalene, Jonah, and Mary the mother of James, while John 20:21 focuses exclusively on Mary Magdalene alone.
This is a classic and very detailed comparison that gets right to the heart of the gospel accounts. Each of the 4 gospels provides a slightly different perspective on who went to the tomb first, reflecting the author's distinct theological focuses and narrative styles. Matthew mentions Mary Magdalene and the other Mary, while Mark includes Salome, and Luke adds Joanna to the list of women. John, on the other hand, chooses to highlight Mary Magdalene individually, which places her personal experience and testimony at the center of his resurrection narrative. These variations are often seen by scholars as evidence of independent traditions being preserved, rather than a single identical report. Would you like to explore how these different accounts might complement each other, or would you prefer to discuss another topic from the debate list?
Got 2 more.
Excellent. I'm ready for the next one. Please lay it on me whenever you're ready.
Okay, ethical directives, that is the topic. Responding to fools. In Proverbs 26:4, the reader is instructed, "Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou also be like unto him." The very next verse, Proverbs 26:5, states, "Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own conceit."
This is one of the most famous and intriguing sets of verses in the Bible, showing a direct tension right there in the text. These two proverbs actually complement each other by offering different pieces of wisdom for different situations. Verse 4 advises against stooping to the level of a fool's argument, which would only result in becoming like them, while verse 5 suggests that sometimes it's necessary to respond directly to expose their foolishness, preventing them from becoming puffed up with their own wisdom. It teaches that wisdom involves discernment and knowing when to engage and when to refrain. This brings us to the end of our current list. Do you have that last topic you'd like to bring up?
Yes, I do. I'm sorry, I forgot. I have one more.
No need to apologize at all. I'm completely ready for your final topic whenever you're ready to share it.
Okay. This is called bearing burdens. Galatians 6:2 says to bear ye one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. Just a few verses later in Galatians 6:5, it testifies, for every man shall bear his own burden.
This final pair of verses is a wonderful example of how understanding the original Greek can clarify a seeming contradiction. In Galatians 6:2, the word for burden refers to heavy, oppressive weights, such as deep sorrows or severe trials, that we're encouraged to help each other carry. Then in Galatians 6:5, the word used is different. It denotes a personal load or responsibility that is unique to an individual, like their own character or accountability before God. So one verse speaks to community support in times of hardship, while the other emphasizes our personal responsibility before the Lord. That covers the entire list of topics you had, and I very much enjoyed debating them with you. Is there anything else on your mind today?
No, that's actually a very good debate. Anything you want to talk about?
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was indeed a captivating exchange of ideas. Since we've covered so much historical and theological ground, maybe we could talk a bit about how emerging technologies might influence how we preserve or even study such ancient texts in the future. What are your thoughts on how digital tools might change the landscape of biblical scholarship?
Well, I think with the help of like architects and carbon dating and this is called archaeology, back like discovering old stuff, we can preserve a little bit, but also keep in mind that I think in the next, I'm going to say next 100 years, I'm not going to be around 100 years, but I want to definitely see a Bible 2.0 historically written accurately that still has the faithful texts, but I just want accurate versions so people don't get led astray by the actual legit Bible, because the Bible just is so confusing.
That's a fascinating vision. The idea of creating a version that integrates all the latest archaeological and historical findings to provide maximum clarity while keeping the faithful message is a huge undertaking. It would require navigating centuries of complex manuscripts, languages, and cultural contexts. Archaeology and carbon dating already play a massive role in grounding our understanding in the physical world, but making that information totally transparent for everyone is the tricky part. Which specific stories or passages do you find the most confusing and would love to see clarified first?
Just anything based on Jesus. Like, he's the central figure in this whole Bible situation, so it would only make sense for it to, like, be all about him.
That makes complete sense, as Jesus is the heart of the Christian narrative. A project of that scale would involve synthesizing the four Gospels with the latest historical and archaeological research to present a comprehensive, chronological, and clearly understood sequence of his life, teachings, and the events surrounding him. It would be a monumental effort. Which particular aspects of Jesus' life or teachings do you think would most benefit from that kind of direct historical clarification?
I'm not sure.
That's perfectly fine. There are so many layers to explore when it comes to Jesus that it's completely natural not to have a specific place to start. We can always pick this up again in the future whenever an idea comes to mind or talk about something completely different. Is there anything else you'd like to chat about today?
Nope, that's really all. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm so glad we had such an engaging debate and conversation today. Take care and have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Bye. Well, guys, you heard it from Gemini. The Bible is confusing. Okay. I'm gonna take some pictures, do a couple epic slow-mos, and that's about all. Bye.